Hello, welcome to the Sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Modern Open in Orlando, brought to you by Ultimate Guard. I'm Nick Miller alongside Tom the Boss Ross. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, man, doing all right.
Good to have you here. Chasing the Players' Championship Player of the Year.
Yep.
You're 20 points behind Jeff Hoagland. He is not here this weekend. You almost weren't here this weekend.
Almost. Yeah, I had to book a last-minute flight.
But you're here. You're playing 8-rack. Now, you had a fan vote on Twitter. Was this what won, or did you just kind of go with your heart?
My Twitter's linked to my Facebook, and my Facebook people wanted this one.
All right.
Also, I just want to play it.
So we're accustomed to see you playing Infect, but lately you've been playing Dredge to a lot of success.
Yeah.
Why put Dredge down and pick this up?
Basically, I just wanted to. Also, I think people figured out the correct number of sideboard cards against Dredge, and I didn't like the matchup against Banned Eldrazi when I was playing Dredge.
So you come here looking to make sure everyone has no cards in hand and dying to the Rack and Shrieking Affliction.
Yeah, this deck's basically a colorless version of Jund. Runs the same discard elements, gets the game down to the bare minimum, the bare simplicities here. Then don't play any creatures, so their creature removal is kind of weak. And yeah, I just kill them with the Rack.
Colorless Jund, I like that. Now you've got the full suite of 1-mana discard spells, Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Raven's Crime, even Funeral Charm here. These are just your wear them down cards.
Yeah, it has 7 1-mana discards like Thoughtseize and Inquisition. A lot of the Jund decks play at number 2. That's the number I like. It also has 4 Raven's Crime, which keeps the juice flowing, I guess. Use your extra lands, make them discard the cards. And it's also another outlet to having so many copies of Urborg in your deck. There's 4 copies of that to go with the Mutavaults, but 4 might look like a lot, but when you have Raven's Crime and Liliana of the Veil and Smallpox to discard them too, it's all right.
So you can get rid of your extra copies, but it's very important to have Urborg with the Mutavault here.
Yeah, I win with Mutavault about 25% of the time. And sometimes it blocks, but a lot of time that's just one of my 2 or 3 lands left over.
Okay. You got more discard going on with Wrench Mine. Now this card obviously not that great against Affinity.
Right.
I imagine Lantern probably not that great either, or?
No, I didn't. Wrench Mine is not good at all against a format full of artifacts. Tron can be on that list too, but I felt like the artifact decks were going down a little bit. I guess the only real artifact thing going on is a lot of people that have like main deck Engineer Explosives, but
sure.
That's manageable. Usually they have to play it early on 1 to get rid of my racks.
Okay. Smallpox, kind of like the legacy namesake of this deck. You know, when you think of this deck in older formats, they have Pox. Smallpox here does the same thing. You get rid of a land, creature, card from their hand, and a life.
Yeah, this is a very attrition-based version of an 8-rack deck. A lot of people don't play Smallpox, they play Ensnaring Bridge.
Sure.
So they try to be more of a prison deck, but this deck's more of a just get it to the bare minimum and kill them fast. It races pretty good. The racks and the Shrieking Affliction actually race the creatures. So I'm just worried about the creatures I'm trying to beat.
Yeah, in typical Tom Ross fashion, you're still trying to out-aggro them almost in this deck because the clock is so fast once you get their hand empty and you have these rack effects in play. Yeah. You were even, last match you were racing like Kitchen Finks and, an Anafenza coming down. You were able to beat that with a timely removal spell here, and then they just lose to having no cards in hand.
Yeah, I beat a green-red Titan player who had game 1 and game 2 opposite Baloth. But it didn't matter too much. My round's been ending fast, a lot because how simple I make the game state. Like the turns just go back and forth really fast, even though I do play like 10 turn games and stuff.
Right, there's not a lot of decisions to be made when they have 1 land and can't cast any of their spells.
Yeah, they have like a land. Should they play it? Should they hold it to take less damage from the rack? I don't know.
Of course,
in a squeeze.
You got the full Liliana going on here as well. There's more discard, creature removal. Is it ever kind of you're hoping to get a creature and then turn it into a fog so that they lose to the rack effects, or are you kind of hoping they don't play that way?
Liliana is the most important card in the deck. It does everything as you said. Gets both their hand sizes low, kills creatures. Sometimes it can tick up if the board's empty enough. Get rid of some troublesome permanent, I don't know, something or other, something I can't beat. Or just get up to 6 against a Valakut player or something and kill half their lands, and then the game should be easy from there.
Right. Dismember here, your other removal spell. You can kill pretty much anything you're looking to kill, and you don't mind taking the damage because you're usually locking them out of the game for the most part.
Yeah, my removal spell here is Dismember. I'm playing 4 of them, not anything else like Victim of Night or Doomblade or whatever. Want another color spell I can play off Mutavault. For that, the Mutavault Swamp draws. The rack's also 4 more color spells. But I felt like the best one, but the damage don't matter too much. Sometimes it does. And a lot of times I'm not even paying 4 life for it. I'm paying 2 life or 0 life, just playing back black mana.
Right. All right. And one thing I've been noticing that you've been playing in your matches, you're always on the draw, even when you have the choice. And so you're basically winning every die roll of this tournament.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a big secret of the deck is you should choose a draw against it. Yeah, basically anyone should do that. I don't know anybody that should play. Maybe Affinity. Affinity and Tron should probably choose to play against it. I choose to play against them.
Right.
But that's basically only 2 decks.
But 2 decks that already kind of have a decent matchup against this deck. For everyone else, you're kind of getting them. They're going down on cards, especially if they mulligan. Then you just have so many, extra resources to get rid of their resources, and then you just win from there.
Yeah, being on a draw gives me some freedom to mulligan to 6, and then they're like under the pressure of, is there 7 keepable or whatever? Then I get to scry. Of course, if they mulligan, then that's just working in my game plan. Right. And the dream scenario is I'm playing against another like Thoughtseize Inquisition deck, because they're just digging themselves their own grave.
All right. They get rid of their own cards as quickly as you can, and then they just die as quickly as possible. All right, so your sideboard, you don't have a ton of removal main deck, but you got a lot of it in the sideboard in terms of Disfigure, Deathmark, coming down against these smaller creatures.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to have just more removal against the Abzan Company guy I just played. Then I had to like max on removal because he's just maxed out on creatures. Deathmark sadly isn't very good against Banished Eldrazi, but hits enough of the decks, I think.
Yeah, back when the deck used to run Ensnaring Bridge, or the builds that did, they would have issues with things like Noble Hierarch being able to kill you through it. This deck doesn't have Ensnaring Bridge, but has a lot of answers to problem cards like Noble Hierarch, which gives them mana and a creature.
Yeah, I'm just playing at the board. I don't want to try to hide behind a bridge, because eventually they'll find an Abrupt Gate or something, then all their creatures are killing me.
Okay. Graveyard Hate between Relic and the Leyline. Now, we got to talk about some of these fun ones here.
Okay.
Even on Twitter, you mentioned you registered Death Shadow, but you're not playing the Death Shadow aggro deck. And of course, Asylum Visitor here from Shadows Over Innistrad as well.
Yeah, so this is a creatureless deck, and a lot of times they take out their removal for whatever. In the controller matchups, I bring in the Asylum Visitor. Death Shadow is basically just against burn. I want a big creature against burn, and it could be like Nyxothid or Lupine Prototype or something, but by the time Death Shadow comes down, it should be bigger than those and for cheaper and threaten to kill them, if they try to put me at like lower life, like 4 or so.
Sure. Have you got to use it at all today?
No, I haven't played against burn yet, but thankfully it's a bad matchup.
All right. Now we got another good one, Waste Not. Of course, when this card was spoiled, everyone just had the dreams of playing this card with all of the other synergies that allowed to make you discard.
Yeah, so along with the creatures, Waste Not's another like win condition. Sometimes they attack my racks really hard, and they just load up on explosives or whatever. But it's also good against just control decks that don't put any pressure on me. And it's especially good against decks that discard themselves, like Faithless Looting or Desperate Raving, something like that.
You just get a ton of value off of that with them forcing away so many other cards. All right. So you played this deck because you kind of wanted to have fun, but you obviously want to win because you're here, you travel quite a ways, for the Play of the Year race. How is this deck positioned in the metagame? What are its great matchups, and what are obviously we went over the bad matchups, Affinity, Tron, stuff like that.
I'm not sure what's great. Jund is highly favorable because they're trying to do the same thing as you, and it's a fair matchup. A lot of the fair decks I want to see. Like, I wouldn't be playing it if I didn't think I was somewhat favored against Banished Eldrazi. That'd be like an Infect opponent. That'd be like another Abzan Company guy. I lost to Dredge, which is an awful matchup.
Yeah.
I lost to Boggles, kind of unexcitingly, I guess. Deck looks like it should be good against Boggles on paper with Smallpox and Liliana, but it's just like the second creature is real hard to push through.
Yeah, you have to be able to make sure you hit their second Boggle so you can get to their first Boggle. Plus they have Dryad Arbor and things like that to kind of gum up the works.
Yeah, and Leyline Sanctity off the board gives this deck trouble.
All right, well you've been tinkering with this deck for a while because I know you've played it in Legacy. You've been trying to pull the trigger on it. You're finally here. You're X2. How's it feeling, and what do you look forward to the rest of the tournament here?
I mean, it's fun. Just need to rack up some more wins.
You heard it here first. Rack up the wins with 8 racks. Thanks, Tom Ross.
Thanks, Nick.
Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Orlando.